300 years have passed since Joseph. The Israelites, once favored, are now enslaved under a new Pharaoh in Egypt. Pharaoh was not a good guy. Fearing the growing number of Israelites, Pharaoh decides that all newborn Hebrew boys must be thrown into the Nile River. In an effort to save her baby,
Everything's gonna be okay, baby. I've got you.
one mother decides to put her baby in a basket and float him along the Nile. By divine protection, the basket floats towards the Pharaoh's place, where the baby is discovered by the Pharaoh's daughter. She decides to adopt him.
I'll name him Moses.
Moses grows up as a prince in Pharaoh's place, surrounded by luxury. One day, he ventures out and witnesses a brutal scene. An Egyptian overseer mercilessly beating an Israelite slave. These beatings were not new, but this time, something inside Moses snaps. Moses strikes down the Egyptian, killing him with a single powerful blow. Fearful of the consequences, Moses flees Egypt, with no other choice but to wander through the harsh desert. After days of wandering, he arrives in Midian. He finds refuge here and begins a new life, where he marries Zipporah, the daughter of Jethro, and becomes a shepherd. On another day tending to his flock, Moses led the sheep to Horeb, the mountain of God. There, the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a bush. Curious, Moses approaches the strange sight. God called to him from within the bush,
Moses, Moses,
Here I am.
do not come near. Remove your sandals from your feet, for the place where you stand is holy ground. I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob.
Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look at God. But the Lord said,
I have witnessed the affliction of my people in Egypt, and I have heard their cry against their taskmasters. I know well what they are suffering. Therefore I've come down to rescue them from the power of the Egyptians, and to lead them up from that land into a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey. Now go. I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt.
Moses, overwhelmed by the enormity of the task, questioned his own ability to lead such a mission. God reassured him of his presence and support, promising to be with him every step of the way. However, Moses expressed concern about his speaking abilities, but God reassured him by appointing his brother Aaron to speak on his behalf, promising to help both of them communicate effectively. With this assurance, Moses accepted the mission. Strengthened by the encounter with God and the promise of Aaron's assistance, he prepared to return to Egypt, ready to lead his people out of bondage and into freedom. Moses returns to Egypt with a divine mission. He confronts Pharaoh.
The Lord commands that you let my people go.
I do not know your Lord, and I will not let Israel go.
To demonstrate God's power, Aaron stands before Pharaoh and throws down his staff, which miraculously transforms into a serpent. Pharaoh's magicians replicate this act by casting their staffs down, turning them into serpents as well. Aaron's serpent swiftly wins the battle, leaving no doubt about the true power of God. Despite witnessing this undeniable sign, Pharaoh refuses to let the Israelites go, and God responds by sending 10 devastating plagues. The Nile turns to blood, filling the air with the stench of death. Frogs overrun the land, invading homes and food supplies. Gnats infest every person and animal. Flies swarm throughout the land, causing chaos. A deadly disease wipes out the livestock, crippling Egypt's economy. Painful boils afflict the Egyptians, their skin covered in sores. A massive hailstorm destroys crops and property. Swarms of locusts consume what little vegetation remains. Darkness envelops the land for 3 days, a palpable terror. On the night of the final plague, known as Passover, God instructs the Israelites to sacrifice a spotless lamb and mark their doorpost with its blood. This act of faith will protect them, as the blood will be a sign for the death angel to pass over their homes, sparing their firstborn from the deadly plague. At Midian, the death angel moved through Egypt, striking down the firstborn in every Egyptian household, including Pharaoh's own son. In his grief and despair, Pharaoh finally relents.
Take your people and leave.
The Israelites, after generations of slavery, hasten to depart, filled with both hope and fear. They follow God's instructions, leaving Egypt behind to begin a new chapter in their lives. The Israelites move forward, guided by a towering pillar of fire, a sign of God's presence leading them through the desert. But Pharaoh has changed his mind and is now hunting down the Israelites, his army closing in. The once celebrated escape now feels like a trap, and panic spreads like wildfire. But Moses stands firm, his voice calm but commanding.
Do not be afraid. Stand still and watch what the Lord will do.
God commands Moses to raise his hand. As he does, the sea begins to split. Awestruck, the Israelites hesitate and then quickly begin to cross the dry seabed where they see large fish swimming next to them in the ocean. Pharaoh commands his army to charge forward after them, relentless in his pursuit. But as the last of the Israelites reach the far shore of safety, the waters fiercely surge back, swallowing Pharaoh's entire army beneath the sea. The waters then return to a magical calm. For the first time in generations, the Israelites are free. They burst out in celebration, ready to follow God and embrace a new life.